This is Counterpointed. I'm Tanya Granick-Allen. We're back with our current events panel with lots of commentary on the latest headlines. We'll cover the first days of newly sworn-in Prime Minister Mark Carney and what the spring may look like for us. We'll unpack the latest in the tariff war between the U.S. and Canada and discuss Canada's action in response to the Trump tariff threat. We'll discuss a recent ban and subsequent reversal by the University of British Columbia's Okanagan campus on the Conservative Club. And we'll cover the Buffy Sainte-Marie Order of Canada drama and how she had to return her medals. Lots to get through, and joining me now is Michelle Simard, lawyer and privacy cybersecurity specialist, and Mike Patton, political commentator. Thank you. I just had to get through that, Michelle. I'm sorry I butchered your title there.
That's okay.
But let's get through a lot of these topics. Some of these are meatier than others. But I want to start with the last one I referenced, which was Buffy Sainte-Marie. So for those who may have forgotten, she was this acclaimed Canadian, or so we thought, of Indigenous descent. But she's just been compelled and actually ordered to return her Order of Canada medals. Michelle, do you want to start us off on this?
Yeah, so really what it boils down to is that when she started off her career, obviously she changed her name to Buffy, but many people do when they have a career in music or acting. And a lot of where she got support was the fact that she said she had Indigenous roots. And she's been holding that, for decades. And then, as you know, through the last couple of years, there's been investigations through CBC and other news organizations checking people who claim they have these Indigenous roots and are relying on them to either get ahead through like some inclusivity type of avenue through an organization, or sometimes it helps them to get more fans, as you say. And what happened with hers is when she was checked, they found out that she really didn't grow up Indigenous, and they can't prove that she has actually any Indigenous roots, which to me was quite stunning, because like I was taken aback. It's one thing not to have grow up Indigenous, that happens with many people, but to not have any Indigenous roots that could be found, to me was just like, then that's just a blanket lie, and that's where it becomes problematic.
Now, Mike, in her explanation, I wouldn't even call it necessarily defense, but her explanation is that in fact she was adopted by a Cree family in Saskatchewan, and they said, you are adopted in our family forever. That even though she was born a U.S. citizen, that she was adopted into this family as a teenager. Does that give her right to claim Indigenous heritage?
I don't think so, because it's very interesting. Somebody thought was one of the biggest Indigenous icons in Canada. Turns out the Italian heritage, not Indigenous at all. And she didn't exactly mention the fact that she was an American citizen, got Canadian citizenship later on. She wasn't even a natural born Canadian citizen. So this great Canadian icon who was, acclaimed for having Indigenous roots turned out to have Italian American roots instead.
Now, again, she contends that she told Prime Minister Elliott Trudeau, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, that she was a U.S. citizen, and that even though he paraded her to perform in front of the Queen, I believe this was again 1977, that everybody was fully aware, but yet they still put her front center. Should she be blamed for that, Michelle?
No, because at the end of the day, if she did make full disclosure and that's what they did, then that's on them. The only difference is she didn't clarify it after the fact. When she accepted these words, she didn't clarify it after the fact. And again, going back to the point that you made about, well, she was adopted as a teenager. And again, there are many people who got caught up in the 60s scoop. They didn't grow up Indigenous, they were adopted and so forth, but it doesn't matter. When they come later in life, they choose to embrace their roots and see that they have Indigenous roots. And that's fine. And she can do that. I think the problem is that, was she really practicing that? Was that really who she was? And she was leading a pretense that everybody doesn't know. And to cap it off, to make it clear, you see that I have my drums in my background in my office. And at the end of the day, I don't claim that I'm Indigenous, but I have Indigenous roots. And I only found out 8 years ago I mean, I was told all my life, but like 8 years ago, I got a call and they gave me my whole family tree and said, "This is what you are." Okay, great. I will embrace it now, but I'll never go around calling myself Indigenous.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, we're going to be back right when we return from this commercial break. Please stick around.